Eric Burgess here, and we've been given the following question. The number of ice cream cones purchased from 14 different trucks on a given day is listed below. Find the mean, median, mode, and mid-range for the data. Alright, so there's two ways to do this. One way is to just use the calculator and you just get all your values from there really fast. The other way is to do this all manually. We're going to be doing it both ways. First, let's just do the calculator way because it's handy to know and a great way to check your work. Then we're going to do it all manually. So in order to use the calculator way, we need to come into the stat button. And then in here, you've got these lists. So we're going to go to edit. And if you have stuff in here, just go ahead and push up to the list and hit clear. And you'll see that the list clears down here. And when you push back down, the list will now be empty. So we're going to go ahead and enter all these numbers in. So we have 122, 557, 229, 111. Whoops, didn't do that last one. It's really easy to make mistakes here, so just be cautious. 111, 127, 258, 301, 158, and I would recommend saying the numbers out loud while you do this. It will reduce error. If you're in a test, just sort of say them in your head or mumble them to yourselves. It really helps me reduce pushing the wrong buttons. 291, 421, 109, and 110. And let's just go back and double check real quick. Just so we're 100%, 221, 300, 440, 158, 301, 258, 127, 29. Yep, looks like we're all good. Okay, so list one has our stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit stat again. And then in stat, we're going to go to calculate because we want to calculate these statistics. So we're going to go over to calculate, and all of these statistics are going to be found under one var stats. So we're going to choose that one. You'll come to this one a lot for these things. So we're going to choose that, list one, and we're going to hit calculate. Now, if you put it in a different list, you would need to change the list by selecting the appropriate one. See how they're here in blue? So let's say that you put it in list 2. You need to hit the blue key and then L2. And it would change it to list 2. But we used list 1, so we're going to use list 1. And you can ignore frequency list, and we hit calculate. So there it goes. It gives us our stuff. So we see our mean is 252.4. And we're looking for the median next. Now the median is the same thing as the second quartile. And they have the quartiles down here, and it's actually called median. So this would be our median. And our next one would be, what are we looking for? Mode. So the mode's the number that occurs the most. So just looking at this, do we have any numbers that repeat? And I don't think we do. So we do not have a mode. So we would write no mode. Do not put 0 because 0 would be considered a number in a list, and so that would be a mode. So we don't have one, so you'd have to write no mode. And then finally the mid-range, I actually don't know if they give it here, but for the mid-range, all you're going to do is you're going to find the smallest value and the biggest value, and you're going to subtract them and divide by 2. So let's go ahead and do this manually now. So the manual way is for the formula of the mean, x bar, that's equal to, let me write this in black. We have the mean x bar, that's equal to the sum of x divided by n, We add all the x's up and then we divide by n. So that's going to be equal to all these numbers added up. So every single one of these things being added up. And then we divide by the number, which there are 14 numbers because we have 7 on top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 7 on bottom. So let's go ahead and do this in the calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out of here. And with this calculator, you can actually type fractions. So if you hit the green key and then the F1 key, it gives you the ability to type fractions, which greatly simplifies the process. So we're going to go ahead and choose this. N is numerator over denominator, N over D. So we're going to choose that. And on the top right, we want all these numbers added up. So we have 122 plus 557 plus 229 plus 111. Why do I have a hard time pushing that 3 times? 127, 258, 301, 158, 440. And this can take a little bit, but hopefully you're following along. I would encourage you to do so. 291, 421, 109, and 110. And then on the bottom, we're going to have 14 for 14 numbers. And we get a number out. Now, it's still a fraction. If you get a fraction out, you can go ahead and just go to, again, the green key and then the F1 key up here. The one that says y equals on it. And we're going to go from fraction to decimal. So number 4. And just to enter, and we get out our mean as 252.43. So this is our mean value. So this is our first thing, the mean. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and find the median. Now the median is the middle number once all the numbers have been put in order from lowest to highest. So one of the nifty things about doing it with the calculator is if you go to your list and you go into edit, so again, you hit stats to get there, and we look at this, everything's sort of out of order, but you can actually come into here and you can go to sort. So we can choose this sort option. So we can choose 2, and we want to sort, and we're going to tell it to sort list 1. And we're going to hit enter. And it says that it's been done. And what it's done is it's put it in order for us. So you could come in and write all the numbers out and go ahead and do it that way. Or if you've entered it in your calculator, you can go ahead and do it this way, which is, I think, pretty nice. So we're going to come in, we're going to look at our list 1. And you see that it's all been put in order. 109, 110, 111, and so on and so forth. So we also know that we have 14 numbers, which means, right, that's an even number, right? 14 numbers. If we divide by 2, we're going to get 7. Which means that if we have 14 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Look at what happens when the number is even. If we go down 7 numbers, right, we get to this number, the number 7. Right, we go. And then if we go down 7 numbers here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we get to the number 8. Or here we got to 7. So check this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7's the 7th number, right? That should be obvious. But if we go the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we see 8 is 7 numbers away. So if this is the middle, if the middle is 7 numbers away, well, the middle is actually between these 2 numbers. So if we have an even number here, we're going to run into this. So what we have to actually do is we have to take the middle 2 numbers, the numbers 7 and 8, and divide them by 2 to get the middle number, which would be 7.5 for this example. So over here, these numbers are like big numbers, but, right, we have our first number, our second number, our third number, and you see they're even labeled. List number 1. The second number is 110, the third number. So we need to go down to the 7th number, which is 258. And we need to add it to the 8th number, which is 200. Whoa, that's the 9th number. The 7th number is 229. My mistake. So be careful there. 229 plus, and then it was 258 is the 8th number. So that's 258. And then we're going to divide them by 2 to get the middle point, the point in between them. So we can go ahead and exit out of here. To exit out, go ahead and just hit the quit, it's in blue, so you hit second quit, brings you to the front. And again, we want a fraction, so we hit the green key, F1. And on the top, we pick 229 plus 258, and we divide by 2. And we get, again, a fraction out. We're going to convert it by going back to the green key F1, and we're going to choose fraction to decimal. And we get 243.5. So we get our median, and if you're following the book, they use MD for median, but MED is very popular as well. 243.5 will be our median. And we calculated that using that. So if you wanted to show your work, you could, on your paper, just rewrite the list. If we just go to list here, you could just rewrite this and then show that you put it in order. Or you could write like used calculator or something. It's going to depend on your professor. So make sure you do the same method of whatever your professor does. But this is a great way to sort of avoid errors. Just take your time inputting the values and you should be good to go. All right, next up we have our mode. We've already discovered that there's no mode. And one really easy way to check is once we have these things in order, any numbers that are the same will be next to each other. So we could just look through here, say, do any numbers repeat? And they don't, and so we're good to go. So there's no mode, so we would go ahead and put that on to our answer. And then finally we have the mid-range. So the mid-range literally just means the middle point of the data from the lowest to the highest. So our lowest number is 109. That's going to be 109. We're going to add to it the highest number, which is going to be the 14th number, 557. And then we're going to divide by 2. This gives us the middle of these two numbers, and that's called the mid-range. So we're going to go ahead and go to second quit, and then we're going to, at this time I'm just going to type it out normal. So I'm going to use parentheses. So we're going to do 109 plus 557, and then we're going to divide by 2. And we get out 333. So this is how you would find the mid-range. So I'm going to leave a little bit of room here so I could say mid-range. So that is how you do these problems. And of course, we can come in and again, we can go to our stats, calculate one var statistics, and then we choose list 1 because that's where we put our numbers, calculate, and we can double check them. So it says the mean is 252.42. We rounded here, and so we get the same thing. The median, let's go check the median. The median is 243.5, which is the exact same thing we got. And then for these last two things, we can just tell by looking at the data set and then doing this small computation. If you have any questions about this, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. If you're a Citrus College student, definitely feel free to stop by online tutoring. We're there to help you out. And we'll catch you in the next problem.